All right, let's try this again. I'm gonna stream a little bit and see. We can build like a little API using Go. Let me make sure my stream is going good now. I kind of screwed up my last one. Okay, so I've been trying to play around with Go a little bit just to learn some new things. Once you've been coding enough with JavaScript, you kind of want to try new things. So one thing I wanted to do was like I kind of figured out the syntax a little bit by now, and I want to kind of see if I can build something a little bit bigger by building like a small REST API. I have no idea how to do that, so we're going to figure that out on stream. Welcome everyone to the chat. And I want to give a shout out to my wife who got me a new chair for my birthday. So I'm sitting on a new chair. I'm not sitting in a wheelchair anymore. Let's see. Hope you guys are all having a good night. This will probably be like a short 1 hour stream, but feel free to ask me whatever questions as we just stumble around with learning how to code with Go. Just want to look at the really appreciate you know, and because you're learning the best language ever. I don't know about the best language ever, but it is pretty fun to play with. I won't lie. So yeah, I don't even know how to build an API. I think Go by default has like a package that you can build a REST API with. So let's just read through like a blog post and hopefully it has some information about how to do this. Thank you for the birthday wishes. I appreciate it. So if we just kind of follow this tutorial, this is honestly how you learn, right? This is how I learn. I literally read Medium blog posts, probably the same as most of these people on the chat, about how you learn new stuff. So I have no idea how to make an API. How do they do one? So it looks like there's an HTTP package maybe that you can use to make requests. I think that would be kind of interesting to learn how to do. But let's just try to use the information that's given here, but like modify it to do our own thing. So like if we go to like the Pokemon API, I don't know if you need a key for that. Hopefully you don't. Let's just do a submit here and hopefully we actually get some data back. I don't think you need like cores or anything. Like I don't think you need a proxy server to hit this. So technically, if I just hit this API and do Pokemon Ditto, I should get back some results. So the first thing I'm gonna do is let's make a, I guess it's like a main.go file. And we could say package main. We could say function main. And we could just print the string real quick so that we have a place to put it. I'll say Pokemon Ditto. And I'm gonna go ahead and just pull out a constant. I think in Go you say const API URL is equal to, and I can say like this. And if I want to like just request some Pokemon data, let's try to figure out how to do that. So following this tutorial that I'm trying to read, he makes a URL and then he tries to get the data like this. So if I copy this, paste it in here, we could probably concatenate the API URL, which I think there's a way to do like template literals in this language. Go template literals. Oh, it's called a string literal. This is how you do it as printf. How to interpolate strings with Golang. They are saying use sprintf. That kind of sucks, but hey, let's just do it because that's how they say you do it. I would much rather just be able to do this or this. Like this is what I'm used to in JavaScript, but I guess you actually have to pull in your own special function to do something simple. So let's just say like ditto URL. And we want to hit percent. Is %d, is that for, it's probably for number, right? Can I just use s? Yeah, I can use s for strings, right? So I want to hit this URL followed by a slash followed by Pokemon Ditto. Now, if anyone in this chat knows Go and like can explain a better way to do this, like feel free. Like I'm always open for some feedback. This does not seem like a really easy approach though. I mean, I could probably just add the strings together, right? Can you concatenate strings with pluses? Let's just get rid of that. And I'm going to go ahead and just print this out real quick. And I'm going to comment out this stuff real quick. If it'll let me. And zoom in. I think I'm zoomed out a little bit. All right. So 10 minutes in and we've written 2 lines of code. Let's just say go run main go. And make sure it prints out that URL correctly. Looks good. So I learned about this today. That's pretty cool. People are saying in the chat there's no better way to do that. All right, so now I want to actually do this GET request, right? So let's just go ahead and uncomment this code. And we are going to save it. So it'll auto import that net/HTTP package. And we're going to go ahead and say that ditto URL. And let's just print out the response. What do we get back? Okay, so we get back a ton of data. I'm guessing this is a struct, right? If I look at it, an HTTP response is a pointer because it has a star on it. What information do I get on this? I got body. I got status code. I got status. What we want to do is I want to get the actual body. So if I just print out the body here, we should get back. What is this? Is body a I read closer? Pretty cool, I guess. I guess I need to find a better way to convert this to JSON or to a struct. Let's go back to the blog post because I don't know what I'm doing. So let's read a little bit further. And not that one, probably this one. io-utils.readall res.body. So what does this do? I don't know. Let's just copy it in and go ahead and paste it in, save it. And we will say resp.body. Then we should be able to print out body here. What do we get back? Get back a bunch of bytes. If you hover over this, this is a bunch of bytes. So I'm guessing we're going to have to like convert this to a string. I think there's a built-in JSON parser. I did it like in a previous script in Go when I was learning to convert the bytes to a string. We'll need to parse the JSON body, but before we could do that, we will need to understand what it's composed of. To do that, simply print out the string of the body we received inside the main function. Okay. Probably need to make a struct or something so I can actually like parse it with the proper data type. Abilities, okay. Let's keep going. So we are getting this printing out. That's good. Okay, so yeah, I do remember doing this. I had to create a struct and then you have to create like some type of mappings or something. So let's just go ahead and say like, I don't know, Pokemon info. And I think I could probably put the bare minimum of what I want. So if we actually go to this API here and I look at this, we have abilities, moves, species, types, weight. What do I want from this? I mean, probably the ID, the name. Let's just keep it simple. ID, name, and maybe the... You know what? ID and name. ID, name. I think I need the capital I so that they're public. And they'll both be strings. Although I think ID might need to be a number. I'm going to convert the string to a int. This is going to be ID. This will be name. And then I'm guessing in the blog post, they're probably going to use like an unmarshal somewhere. This. But then you need to pass it a pointer to data. Is that how you do it? Probably Pokemon info. So we make a blank struct called Pokemon info. We set it to the data Pokemon object. And we're going to go ahead and just pass in this. Go ahead and bring in the errors here. Print them out if something happens. And can we print out? Well, so we unmarshaled it. It would have put it in here. And then I should be able to say like format print line Pokemon object name. So if I run the script, it should print out Ditto. It did. Cool. Let's get rid of that extra print line. Where's that happening? I guess it's happening here. And where else? Cool. What else should we do? Go to chat real quick. How can we hide elements behind a paywall in React and Next? Also, how to add different paywall plans, payment plans, and what does the backend setup look like? I mean, first of all, you probably have to have some type of an account system, so the user has to be able to register. And then once they register, you need some type of like Stripe setup where once they pay, you go into their user data in the database and you flip a field on or something so that your system knows that that user has access to certain features, right? Easiest thing is just have like a is active or is paid flag. And once the Stripe system sends you that response back to your, what's it called, a callback, your API webhook, I guess it is. When Stripe sends you that event, your webhook would basically update that user record to say is paid true. And then in your React UI or your next backend endpoints, you'd have checks to say like, hey, if this user is not paid, then redirect them back to the dashboard or redirect them back to a you need to register page. It all depends on what you're trying to do. As far as different payment plans, like subscription types, instead of a flag of is paid, you could say like subscription type is equal to unsubscribed, plan bronze, plan gold, plans diamond or something. It's a matter of how you decide that you want to set up your configuration with like dealing with authorization, basically. Defer response body close. I guess I need to do that. May I ask STH? Don't know what that means. So you have to close the body. Wonder why that is. Expected statement found illegal. My subscribers are making me do illegal stuff here. Illegal closing of bodies. Oh, it's capital B. Duh. It's probably capital C too. Tell me what happens if you don't close the body. You just have like data that's literally just sitting on your heap, just unused. And where should I run this? I guess I'd run it here, right? What's this error? Struct field tag, JSON ID not compatible with reflect struct tag, get bad syntax for struct tag value. Is that because we have these like little quotes in here? No? All lit on line 24. Oh. Okay. Sorry, I'm just reading chat. Yeah, so thank you for that information. Yeah, thank you, State. Yeah, I went from like crazy. This year's been really, or last year's been really good. I went from like 16,000 subs to almost 80 something thousand subs. Half of those came from my YouTube shorts, so I need to start doing some more YouTube shorts again. But I just don't like doing them. But maybe I will do them again since they're going to start paying AdSense money on YouTube shorts, so I might start doing those if I get motivated. Yeah, the Golang police will come if I don't close the body. Uh-oh, Lee with the super chat. Thank you so much. $10 super chat. Great job with the content. I appreciate your transparency and your time is very valuable. Hey, I definitely appreciate you giving me a super chat. And like always, I'm always happy to hear when my content helps you guys find jobs or just helps you learn more about programming. That's always the goal. I'm new to web dev and my goal is to become a full stack developer. As for the backend, I have to learn a Linux distribution, and I'm between Ubuntu and Arch. But I have zero knowledge about Linux. Any suggestions? I'm not really that big on operating systems and Linux and stuff. At work, I think we typically use what is it called? Debian? I think we're using Debian version 11 for our Docker images. But I mean, I think Ubuntu is fine as well. What is Bullseye? Bullseye 11. Isn't that Debian? Yeah, that's what we use at work. They're all basically the same. I mean, they have like different package managers, or I don't know if they're called package managers, but like you have app or apt-get. Some of them have yum. But you all kind of learn like the same stuff. They have different tools for like, forwarding ports and firewalls and stuff like that. But I just think you should stick with one. Like Ubuntu's fine. And just learn more about it, how to like SSH into the box, set stuff up, how to update the machine. Yeah. Yeah, good information. I mean, I remember reading this stuff. I like kind of powered through a 6-hour video to try to learn more about Go. And that's one of the things that they kind of taught me. It's just one of those things you have to like remember to do. Like I forget, like if I'm a beginner, like how do I know that it's the body I need to close? Because if you look at this response thing, there's like a ton of things on here. So how do you know it's the body that I have to close? Because it has an IO reader on it, I guess. Like if I look at body, does it say like you need to close this thing if you're going to access it? Those are the questions that as a newbie at Go, I don't really know the answer to. Because I would have wrote this code and probably not closed anything. And then my code would probably have like memory leaks or something, right? Okay, so the idea is we're trying to build like an API, right? So far, all we've done was I have a script that fetches some Pokemon data and prints it out. So maybe we could try to figure out how to add an endpoint that proxies the Pokemon API and does something with the data. Now, I think someone in the chat did put a suggestion about like what exactly, like what package we should use. Is Go blazingly fast? I'm not sure yet. Where was that? Someone put it somewhere. I mean, I thought in Go there's like a built-in way to like make an HTTP server, right? Go docs make an HTTP server that accepts GET requests. Do I want to go to DigitalOcean for this information? Probably. And the way I read docs is I literally just scroll down until I find code. And then I copy the code into my program and it doesn't work and I get mad. And I realize it's because I didn't read the docs and I didn't read the actual like stuff. But it looks like I might be able to just do something like this and then listen. But I should probably read up on this more. So this is the main get root, get hello. These are the callback functions that run the code. So it looks like it's as simple as this. Like in my main function, if I were to do this, and I'll just call it like /ditto on port 3333, okay. If there's an error and it's not equal to nil, I will say log.fatal error. And one thing that really trips me up is I'm used to coding in TypeScript and JavaScript and like when I'm creating variables in Go, I keep doing stuff like this. I'll say like var x int. I keep doing this and it's messing me up because I'm like jumping back and forth in my head between Go syntax and TypeScript syntax. But I think what they do here is they make a separate function like this for running what happens when you hit that endpoint. So maybe we should do that. I think I could also probably put it inline, right? You could just do an inline function here to make it kind of similar to Express. Again, I'm just playing with the code to see what works, what doesn't work. I'm assuming this should work because I've seen other stuff that I've been playing with Go that makes that work. So you should get the request at /ditto, and what we want to do is we want to proxy that request by taking all this code, putting it right there. This is going to do the exact same logic that we just found out together, but the difference is instead of printing ditto to the terminal, we should probably like return it somewhere. So I'm going to say R. Wait, there's a response writer and an HTTP request. So I'm guessing R, we do R dot. Look at the functions that we have. We have write header and write. So I'm guessing we could do write. That takes in some bytes. Okay, now at this point, I don't know what I need to do. Maybe I need to go back and read the docs. They do an IO write stream, and they do the writer. Okay, guess we got to do that. So to use the W that we're given, we're going to write back the Pokemon. Now let's see what happens here, because I'm assuming this is going to crash. Because you can't really just convert a struct. Let me delete that. Probably can't convert a struct to a string, right? You probably have to do some type of like marshaller. So if we do like JSON.marshal, and then we'll say Pokemon object. Is that going to work? So this thing takes in a v_any. Marshal returns the JSON encoded of v. So it doesn't return a string, it returns a byte or an error. What is write string? Okay, so let's pull this out so I'm not confused. This thing is going to get back the Pokemon JSON. And I think it also gets an error. So like Marshal error. All that. Is that how you do it? And then we probably have to do some error checking. If there's an error with this thing, do a fatal. Otherwise, we should write the... My brain's trying to think. Write the string equivalent of the byte array. And at this point, let's watch this program crash. Okay, it looks like it's doing something. So let's load up Thunder Client. I'll go check the chat in just a second. I know you guys are typing stuff. All right, new request. HTTP localhost 3333 ditto. If I send that, we get back some JSON. Cool. What headers do we get back? I'm guessing we actually get a response to JSON by default. Or is this just, where are the response headers in this thing? Content type is text plain. So I kind of rather this thing give back application JSON. So let me go back and figure out how to do that. And then also these are capital I's. So we might have to make another struct to lowercase them. Do they set headers here in this little tutorial? Let's see. There's too much text here. I'm not reading all this stuff. Let's just search for application/JSON. Okay, let's just go back to our code and play around with it because if I say W and I say write header, what is this? I have the ability to write a status code. Okay, what if I want to write more than a status code? There's so many different headers you can write. Why is the argument a status code of int? Write header sends an HTTP request header with the provided status code. Okay. Have to set headers. Oh, I see. Look, it says headers add, and I can say content type, and not with single quotes because this isn't JavaScript. And then I could say application slash JSON, hopefully. It needs to be a comma. So I will ask you guys in the chat, is there a equivalent in Go for like a reloader? So when I save this file, Go will rerun this? Is there like a Go run watch? Or like a nodemon or something, you know what I'm saying? Go run help. Is there a help? Go run manual. Okay. Comma. Anyway, moment of truth. Let's go back to that request. Let's send it. And now we should potentially get back a header that says content type of request JSON, right? Or application JSON. There we go. Looks pretty good. I'm also just going to go to my browser directly, paste that in, make sure that that looks like real JSON. So when you're building out like an HTTP server with Go, you don't typically have to use the Go keyword, right? Because I'm assuming this HTTP library, for any of you experts in the chat right now, for this library that we're using, this HTTP handle func ditto, is behind the scenes, is this setting up a new Go routine for every time a endpoint is invoked? Or is this code potentially blocking until it finishes and it'll let the other request in? I'm assuming it's a new Go routine each time, or else like why would anyone want to use this? Actually, let's go back to this and just hit it a couple times. I mean, it's so fast, it's probably just... Someone is saying I can use Go Air package. Golang Air package. Live reload for Go apps. No blocking here, baby. That's good. That's good to know. I'm sorry, what is all this? Go Air. What was the other package someone put? Air or Reflex? This seems like it's just too much setup. Like, why would I need a Docker package? Well, I guess I don't. You could just install this. You say Air V, but then how do you run your Go script? Your Go script. Air C. You know, this is so much more boilerplate than anything I've seen in JavaScript for like NodeMon. Okay, let me try something else. Reflex is a small tool to watch the directory and rerun a command when certain files change. It's a great tool for... I might just even use NodeMon, honestly. All right. Let me go back to chat real quick. I might look at these things in the meantime. Air, Reflex, might just use NodeMon. But the person who mentioned Air, like, do you just say Air and then type in your Go file? Or is it like something more complicated than that. Because somehow Air needs to know about like the files that your Go file is using, right? What makes me more interested in Go than Rust? Rust seems like you have to manage the memory yourself. Again, I haven't touched Rust yet. The syntax of Rust looks pretty cool, but Go seems like it's super simplistic to get hit the ground running, and out of the box it's like built in for web servers. Like it has like this cool HTTP library for building out web APIs and stuff. I just find Go simpler. At least it just seems simpler than Rust, and I rather learn a higher. I don't know if Go is considered like a higher level language, but it looks very similar to like JavaScript and Python and stuff. What does Go even look? I mean, what does Rust look like? Rust language syntax. I remember this one also looking very, very terse. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe one day I'll look into Rust as well. But since I am like doing web dev, I don't think is Rust known for like a web dev language. I know Go is specifically made for like microservices and APIs. I think that's like one of the problems that Google is trying to solve with making their code base easier to compile and fast to compile and built for like web services and microservices and stuff. But you guys can call me on. I don't know. I might check this out one day. Rust as well if I get bored of Go. The person who asked, Andrea Zorzi, they're asking about my chair. I just got this today, so I don't know. I can't really. It feels nice, and it's kind of stiff, and I think it might take a couple of months to break in. So ask me in like 3 months how I still like it. But so far, it's much better than the wheelchair I was sitting on before. So it's an upgrade. I'll definitely give it that. I would just go into like if you have like an office store near your house or something, just go and sit on a bunch of different chairs and try to like figure out what would be the most comfortable to sit on for a long time. Go install an Air command. I personally use Reflex with Make. Is it comfortable or just overrated? I mean, it feels pretty nice. It has like lumbar support too, and I have a really bad back. Like my lower back is completely messed up. So the lumbar support's pretty nice. Like I don't feel my back hurting at all right now, which is good. I was just about to ask the same question. Based on the hype of both languages' performance advantages, I would find I myself would have tried Rust. I don't know why I can't read a sentence. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure they're both good in their own ways, but I think Rust would be better for like lower level. You really care about performance, such as like a game engine or some type of like high frequency program that has like a really low tick rate. But for a web API, I don't know. I feel like Go is just simpler to learn and use. Memory management. Managing memory is easy when you understand references and borrow checker. I feel like this statement is like coming from a C developer or something, because I don't think managing memory is easy. Maybe it is, and I just have never really learned it. But it's just one of those things like I don't want to worry about that, right? I would rather have a garbage collector just take care of the stuff. So there's one less thing that I have to worry about as a developer. And most of these garbage collectors are pretty quick, right? You don't really notice that big of an issue with it cleaning up your code. Unless you're building a game, then you might see some stuttering or something. Leptos is the new Rust JSX framework. Y'all are really trying to get me to try Rust, huh? Got a bunch of y'all must have been watching Primeagen's stream or something with the Leptos stuff. You've not seen Rust. Try to make an array. If that's really how Rust looks like, then I don't want to learn Rust. I'll be honest with you all. I mean, that's probably just because your vector takes in a generic And then you have to initialize the vector. But yeah, I don't know. Go seems pretty simplistic. What's up, JHU? Don't know why you're saying hi over and over again. There's no need to spam the chat. No, you can't even add anything to that array. You have to use the mutation keyword. Yeah, I remember watching a video about like Rust stuff is immutable by default or something, and you have to use like a mutation, like a mute keyword. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like it's something I'd personally care about. I'd much rather lean towards using JavaScript and Python to write out code, and I would rather not have to worry about a lot of other this stuff. Jimmy, do you actually write C? Are you actually like a C or C++ developer? JHYU. All right, I'm going to ban you because you keep spamming the same thing. How about a timeout? Sorry, buddy. Why would someone join a stream and just spam the same word over and over again? Like, what goes through their minds? Anyway, okay, going back, let's just stop getting distracted a little bit. So let's go back to this little Pokemon thing I'm building. Why is the port a string? Like, why can't they be a number? Maybe just try to, oh, why do I call it post? I'll call it port. Try to clean this up a little bit. Yeah, at this point, okay, maybe we should probably pull this out to a separate file. Now, learning how to do different modules in Go is something I'm still trying to like understand. I think if you just put it as part of the package, like let's say I made a new folder or something called routes to make this very similar to Express. Now, I don't know the proper way to do this in Go. I should probably go watch a tutorial or something. But I think in this routes directory, I could potentially add one for like git ditto. You know, I'm just going to call it Pokemon.go. And we're going to try to pull out this whole function here. And let's see what happens. We will say function get Pokemon. And if I could just use that function here, let's just do that. Delete all this other stuff. I should probably spell it correctly. Get Pokemon. Now I think this is going to be private, right? But if I say package main, well, I guess this would have to be package routes, right? The API URL would probably have to be some type of constant. Can I just import this here? Like if I call this API URL, can I import this? Undeclared, oh, I have to capitalize it, right? Is that true? I do have to like do like example, I think I call this go stuff routes. No? You guys can tell how bad I am at Go. I've never used this stuff. Like I've literally been spending like a couple days trying to learn this. So if I have a function called get Pokemon, I should probably make it capital G, right? And I try to use it here. I can't find it because I need to import the package probably, right? Now I think someone told me I can do like go mod. What was the word? It's like go mod fix. Go mod something, right? Go mod. Oh, routes.pokemon. Okay, there we go. So you have to put the package name and then the method that you're trying to use, which I've done like 2 days ago. I already forgot how you do it. So then if I wanted to, okay, so from the routes, if I wanted this constant, why can't I pull in the main package into this one and use it? You know what I mean? Like, if I'm able to access the routes package from main, why can't I access main? Probably because it's like a circular dependency type of thing, so I probably need to make like a constants. I'll make like a config folder here. Package config. And let's just go ahead and move that API URL into its own little package. Probably the port 2. And then if I were to bring in config.package or port, and this one could do config.api URL. Okay. Is this actually gonna work though? Pokemon info. Okay, so this was declared here, but we should probably have it declared either in a shared directory or something. This guy's back with the hi messages. Let's see if he keeps typing it over and over again. Go run main. Let's go back and make sure our request works. Still works. What else should we do? Get to Pokemon. I mean, okay, so we should probably allow us to pass in a name or something, right? So I just want to kind of build like the exact same proxy. If I say Pokemons and then somehow specify like a name here, how do you do that? Does it tell us? Okay, report this guy as... All right, I told YouTube to hide the user. So if he tell me if his chat's going away, he should not show up anymore. Yeah, he's a human bot. So Swap Neil, what would you say is exhausting about using Go? Same with iPunch. What looks exhausting about it? Because I mean, from what I can tell, coming from like an Express Node background, there's like a little bit more you have to kind of add in, but mainly it's like this error handling stuff, which you should probably do anyway, right? If you're trying to do something and it fails, you should probably make sure that you handle it correctly instead of just letting your whole entire application just crash randomly. But I could see how that can kind of get kind of exhausting because I literally have to do it after every single thing. I mean, I don't think you actually have to do this, do you? Like technically you could just do this. Wait, is that the right one? Like if I don't actually want to do this at all, I want to make my code unsafe, it doesn't force me to do it. I don't like how I have to put the comma there, but that's just me coming from a JavaScript background. Let me not break my code. Okay, anyway, what are we doing? So we're trying to make it so in this routes, this main API directory, how can I dynamically get the route parameters? So let's see if there's a way to do that. You know, it's probably, let me just look real quick at the request we get. Because like most libraries, you should be able to get the path parameters. You need a router package for that. That's cool and all, but does it do WebSockets perhaps for next stream? Yeah, we could look into WebSockets. I don't know if it does WebSockets. I'm assuming it does. conventions to name every error error. That won't complain about like overlaps. I guess it's because we're redeclaring every time. Don't complain. So that's the only issue I'm seeing with your convention, where in this example right here, I can't name this error for some reason. No new variables on the left side of colon equals. I can do it for these, I think. Do that. What is this one complaining about? Why can't I do this? Yeah, but like, why do I not need to do it here then? Why is it that? Is it because it's by itself? So Go knows that this one already is declared, so let's just reassign it because I did the colon equals. But in this instance, I can't use it because this thing only returns an error by itself. So I have to just reassign it manually. Is that what's going on? So Go's smart enough to know that this needs to be reassigned, but it's not smart enough to know that this thing is already declared and I can't redeclare it. Seems cool, I guess. Body ist new. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense to me. Felix. But I guess I'm not sure why, like, I can't just do it here, but I can do it here, even though it's been declared up here. You know what I'm saying? Like, this has been shadowed right here, and it works fine, perfectly fine. But here, I can't do the same thing. I know why. It's because this thing has an extra, like, variable. I'm just complaining at this point. Let me just move on to what I'm trying to do. I'm just picking Go apart. It's a good language. I'm just picking at it because it's something new. But how do you actually get the parameters, right? I have to go and find a router package. There's a Go router package. Let's see. How to get params from Go. Request URL query get ID. So that's not a query string, but let's see if there's a yeah, that's for a query string. Okay, I'm actually looking for like a path parameter. Path parameter. Someone said there's a router package or a routes package. If you don't want to use any of the multitude of available routing packages, a little passive aggressive right there, huh? Route the /provisions path to your handler. Trim the prefix. Okay, yeah, I'd rather use a package. You can use Golang Gorilla Mux package for router to do path mappings and retrieve path parameters from them. This looks cool. All right, let's just go ahead and say that. I think Mux is the thing that someone put in the chat. So let's just go ahead and like look at this code. Someone's saying CHI, Golang Chai. Be careful what I Google on a live stream. I mean, since you're here in the chat with me, let's just check this one out, right? The lightweight something blah blah blah, too lazy to read. Let's go down to here and look at it. So let's just copy these things in. And probably have to go back to our main, import those. They make a router here in main. We could use a logger, okay. This is reminding me of Express a little bit, so I'm a fan, I like it. And then they do this. Same idea, we probably need to call the routes get Pokemon instead of doing all that. So let's just go ahead and say this. And I believe, let's look at the path parameters. Hopefully that's documented here. They do curly braces. So let's just go ahead and put a curly brace here. Like that. Do not import this. No required module. What is the command to like have Go like import this stuff? I don't even remember at this point. Go get. Is that how you do it? Go get. Is that kind of like an npm install? And that probably updates your Go mod file. Okay. And what do we want to do here? So we want to, when someone does a GET request to this endpoint, all the same thing. Go mod tidy. That's what it is. Go mod tidy. Because that would have automatically done that import for me. One thing I hate about streaming on YouTube is there's like a 20-second delay. So when I ask a question, it's not until like 20 seconds later do I start seeing the responses come in. Kind of frustrating. I don't know if Twitch does that as well or other live streaming services. There's like I guess an intentional buffer for some reason. I guess I could like end the stream and that's something wouldn't go out. But maybe there's a way to actually turn down the latency so I can get like faster chat responses. Give me a second. Let me look around real quick. You need to pass the router to the HTTP server. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I jumped around, didn't I? Passed it R here. Instead of nil, pass it R. And, I mean, they're not checking for an error in their code. Let me be a rebel and not check for errors either. Okay, so if I run this, go run. That should start the server, but now we have to get that actual, like, path parameter that we called name. So let's kind of look down here with how they do that. URL parameter, that's probably how you do it. So let's do that, and let's say R, and then we'll say name. I'll say Pokemon name. So let's do this, %s, pass that in. And let's see if this works. So if I restart my server, no required module provides package. Wait, what? Go mod tidy. How come I had to run that twice? Oh, it's, hold on. So this one has a v5. This one doesn't. I kind of wonder if I'm supposed to install like the v5 one here. Or if I'm not. They use the v5 everywhere, so I should probably follow their example. v5. All right, thank you. So let's try it again. And I don't want to have that thing installed, so let's see if we can just delete it. Go mod tidy. Hopefully that removes it from the go sum. I don't know. And let's run it again, see what happens. And now we should be able to say Pokemon / R Wizard. And we get back. Where's the response? Cool. We actually get the ID and stuff. By the way, thank you all in the chat for, helping me learn this. It's definitely easier when people can point me to like libraries and packages that they're familiar with and kind of give me some tips and hints along the way. And I think it's beneficial for other people who are watching too, if they don't know Go. Okay. Awesome. So maybe there's time. Does anyone have any questions about anything? Like I might wrap this up soon. I've been going for almost like an hour. I didn't want to do too long of a stream tonight. But I do feel like I learned a little bit more about Go. I learned how to set up an HTTP server, how to accept endpoint requests and stuff using the default package in Go. I'm doing this recap for myself, kind of, so I kind of solidify what I just learned. We also learned how to bring in this chai package using go mod tidy. I think there's also a go install command that I ran, but I've already forgotten what command that was, so I'll have to go remember that. How to do URL parameters is what they call it in this library. How to extract those, how to do HTTP requests, how to format strings. We learned how to do that this little stream. What else did we learn? Reinforce my knowledge about deferring and closing things, although I would not have known that I need to close the body. I probably would not have known that unless someone in the chat told me to. But I did learn about deferring and like how you should close resources that you open up. I think for me, I thought it'd been like response.close, not response_body.close, but maybe it's because I'm reading it here or something. I just need to force myself to remember that stuff. How to add headers. I'm assuming there's a way to do it with this chai package. They probably give you an easier way to do it. Let's see. New mux header. New router header. Don't know what that stuff is, so let's just not do it right now. What do I want for dinner? Do we have any like leftover food at the house, or do we need to go out and get something, Tina? I'm about to wrap this stream up in a second here, but what else did we learn? Something I'm not a fan of is like, why is this complaining to me? Like, why is this all in yellow? There must be some bad syntax I'm doing here. And then also like the result that we're sending back to the user, I would kind of like these to be lowercase, but I'm not sure how to achieve that. Like, how do I do it the other way? Because I'm using this Pokemon info to kind of unmarshal the data, the bytes array, into a Pokemon struct. But I want to go the opposite way, right? I want to take the struct, I want to marshal it into JSON, but I want to make these lowercase. Like, I don't want these to be uppercase. So I don't know if I need a separate struct for that. And then somehow I have to like manually map one struct into the other. I have to go figure that out. But it kind of bothers me that my API is returning capital things here. And not learning by myself is how I look for it. Oh, man. Waking up at 5 a.m. in my country to see your stream and not learning by myself is how I look forward to my life. Well, I'm glad you watching me learn and struggling with Go helps you wake up at 5 a.m. who also struggle learning how to code. You just got to use the JSON package. Yeah, I'll go Google this. There's just a bunch about the JSON package I don't even know about yet. JSON dot. Like, it'd be cool if there's a separate argument here that I could pass in. Oh, like marshal using type. Marshal indent. What does that do? I don't want that. Chi package? Why Go doesn't need cores to do requests from Chrome? Well, typically GET requests don't need course headers, right? It's usually the post requests that require the whole course thing, because those are the things that actually like change your data in the backend, and those things are the security concerns. GET requests, typically you don't require your backend to check about like, you know, course headers from what I've seen. I mean, you can change it to do that. But the browser is only going to do that pre-flight header check for like post requests, put requests, maybe delete, patch, stuff like that. For GET requests, it doesn't do a pre-flight check. So therefore, your browser is not going to prevent it from happening. Look at this Chi package real quick. Go Chi. Oh, I call it Chai. It's called Chi. Jimmy says, thanks for the stream, bro. I always enjoy geeking out. yeah, thanks for joining in. And maybe one day I will do Rust, and I will tell you if I like it or not. But I haven't had a chance to even check it out. So I can't really give you a solid opinion on it. It's hard to like gauge these libraries, or sorry, gauge these new languages until you actually build something large. Like, okay, building out this little API with one endpoint, it's cool, but this is just like a little prototype toy, right? Until you actually start building out something large, that's when you can actually start getting like real opinions on stuff. So I don't like watching other people just tell me that goes great. I rather use it and, find out for myself, like, is this actually great, or is this just another language that does the same thing that I currently do at my job, just with another flavor? Now, I will say, let me show you some real quick. I do have another package I was kind of playing with. It's called Go Playground. And I was kind of getting into the weeds of Go routines. So I was trying to like load in all these files. I have 100 files in here. Each one of them have like an entire book of 1.2 megabytes in size. I was trying to read them all in and then find a way to parallel process these as fast as possible using the Go routine. Let's see, search fast. I think I'm in the wrong, what director am I in? Go Playground, and I was trying to do Go, Run, Search, Fast. Why is this not working? Go, Run, Main, Search, Fast. Let's do that. Let's see how fast this runs. So basically it reads in all those files. They're each like 1.5 megabytes in size. It loops over every single word and it creates a histogram of those words. And it sums up all those histograms together to find out the total amount of times that a certain word was found in the text. Now, at the end, you'll see it prints out 92,000. That's just for the word on in this text, right? So there's 92,000 occurrences of that. But there's a map here that basically has every single word and it has a count of how many times. But this is just me playing around with like, how do channels work? How do Go routines work? Right here, I made up a parallel Go workers that all listen for a jobs channel. And then I push in a bunch of file paths to that jobs panel, which reads in the file, parses the string, splits it by spaces, does the histogram count. And then we get the result. So all these things are pushing to a channel called results, which I loop over one by one. And then I append them all into the same slice. And then I sum up the total result histogram here. And we basically print it out here. So that's kind of like what I was playing with in my spare time. I have like different ways that I'm trying to do it. I kept running into like deadlocks and all this other stuff and trying to figure out the fastest way to do it. I also did it in JavaScript. Just to see like how much faster Go can be. And like, it's pretty fast. I'll be honest with you, it's pretty fast. And it's really easy to like spin up these Go routines to parallel process all these files. You'd literally just put the keyword Go. And that's what I really like about this language so far. With JavaScript, to fork a process and like have a different thread operating on this stuff, it's such a pain. Like you end up having to install another library to basically do the parallel processing. I'm not a fan of it. This is actually pretty nice. And I like the way channels are set up to have like publishers and subscribers. It's pretty cool. So that's one thing I really like about Go, which obviously I didn't talk about any of this in the stream because I wanted to go to the next step of like, how do I make an API? But just letting you guys know, I was kind of diving into the details of Go routines and channels and parallel processing and stuff like that. And it's been pretty fun, pretty nice. What's your dev setup like? I mean, you're basically seeing it. I got usually a browser open, and I usually got my VS Code open. That's about it. I thought JS had a lot of packages until I saw your Go stream. I mean, as far as packages, all these are standard, right? These are built into the standard library. So there's nothing I had to download from the internet to get this working, which is cool. Now going back to my other project, I had to bring in a third party, like have like an Express library, but you can't have. I mean, like the standard libraries can't include everything, so there's going to end up being packages that you download from the internet that you have to use, right? Usually you write JSON new encode W. Okay, I'll try to. I'm going to copy this so I don't forget it, and let's just put it somewhere. Let's open up the other project. Where is my workspace? Let's go to Go stuff. Let's open up that Pokemon and let's just go ahead and paste that right here because we're gonna. I want to look into that in a second. Go ahead and put it to do. Did VS Code just get a visual update over the weekend? This new search bar is definitely new. I noticed it happened within a couple of weeks since my update, but I think that's like the only main change I've noticed. Jimmy says that's how I learn myself. I barely know Rust coming from JSTS world myself, but after watching a few videos, the memory management part didn't seem too scary. Learning professionally at work, it's all TS. Yeah, I'll take your word for it. I mean, if you don't think it's scary, then I'll believe you because again, I'm coming from a JavaScript TypeScript perspective myself, and it seems like the Rust syntax is kind of similar to Go, and they're all kind of similar to each other. I think Rust just declares your types using like arrows or something, which is just another like syntax you got to get your head around. But I'll take your word for it though. If you think it seems pretty good, then I'll check out Rust at some point. Search bar, would you recommend Go or Java as a second language? I think there's probably a lot more jobs in Java. My first job, like that I got professionally and was paid for, was in Java. And I know in the enterprise world, there's a ton of Java jobs. So I would probably recommend learning Java if you're looking for a job. But as far as a second language, like for just playing around with, Go seems pretty cool. Again, I've only used it for like 3 or 4 days, so I don't really have much opinion on it. Anyway, yeah, be sure to like the channel and like the video before you leave. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the stream. I hope you guys learned 1 or 2 new things about Go today, watching me struggle how to learn it. And again, thank you all so much for like contributing some tips and tricks about Go, some advice about what I should do for libraries and stuff. Definitely a shout out to Felix. He gave me a ton of information about like everything. So definitely shout out to you. Definitely appreciate you. And yeah, feel free to join my Discord if you want to just talk to me directly or just talk about code. I try to stay active there. And other than that, I hope you guys had fun. Anyway, have a good day. Happy coding.